Scanning, synchronizing, stabilizing. Engaged.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? This is K-Rev from Kouch, and I am excited to be here. I'm excited to be alive and breathing. There's so much going on in this world, so much killing, unjust things going on, so many diseases, pandemics, fear, fret, running, and just don't know who and what to trust, But one thing's for certain and for sure, that God is good and my life is in his hands, and I am still here. I can breathe, I can get up, I can taste and touch, and I can maneuver and move, and I can talk on my own. No one is telling me what to say or do. I am excited. I'm excited for this present moment. I was listening to something this morning while I was working out, and the book was talking about if you are depressed, usually it's centered around the past, and sometimes when you're anxious or too anxious, sometimes it's centered around the future. But if you can be at peace, that means you're part of the present. And so I am striving to be at peace, because the past is what it was, the future is what it's going to be, and I can only control right now. And I'm excited about right now. If I was in church, I would say, turn to your neighbor and say, be excited about right now. So I'm excited about right now. I am excited about being able to be alive and to have a fresh look on life, and really pursue my dreams. My dreams are my dreams. My goals are my goals. And you should have that available to yourself. I've been on this journey of nutrition and working out here for a little while now, and it's really been great. This week I decided to start working out twice a day. It's been good. Work out weights in the morning, cardio in the evening. It's been really, really good. First day was kind of hard, but that's with anything. It could be a little trying, but as you keep going, it becomes a part of you. And so that becomes your new habits and your new standards. So I'm excited. So today, man, listen, first of all, we're brought to you by Standard Mag, with the voice of the culture and the oxygen to the entrepreneur. Then also KR3 & Co. Enterprises, where businesses are protected, promoted, and pushed. And we help businesses grow and grow securely. So today, man, we got this is a great interview we're going to have with an awesome business and successful person, and his name is Mr. DC Lyons. I want to read a little bit of his bio. I mean, he's got a great bio, great conversation, and he is a conqueror among all conquerors, and has a tremendous story. Tremendous book that we're going to touch on. It's called With Worn Out Tools. It is actually navigating for the rituals of midlife. I've had an opportunity to read this book, and this reading, it's not a long read, but a lot of time it doesn't take all day or a lot of pages to get to the point of life. So I've learned a lot from this book just for the time that I've read it, man. So let's talk, a little bit about him. As a customer journey executive for 20 years, Darren built relationships across the globe, managing a business process outsourcer organization in Asia, Central America, and South America. When he was the director of a global customer care for 1-800-Flowers.com, and I've used that service. Wow, man. I've used that service. He led a vendor organization of 1,000 FTE across 7 partners in 5 countries and 10 cities. That is amazing. Over the past 5 years, Darren has had numerous health issues, including 2 below-knee amputations, stage 5 kidney failure, requiring dialysis 3 times a week, and he is a stroke survivor. Yet, this is what you got to understand, yet Darren has used the concepts learned managing vendors to help him overcome his physical limitations, leaning into your discomfort, the power of partnerships, and the importance of clear, consistent, and concise communication. Darren's story is one of the triumphs because of his tenacious desire to fight back for his life through these trials. Darren obtained his master's degree in organizational management from the University of Phoenix and the Bachelor of Arts in History from George Mason University. Darren and his lovely wife, Elaine, founded Courier Inc., with a vision to create inspirational books and faith-based media projects. Darren's ebook, A Day in the Life in a Skilled Nursing Facility, Short Stories for a Young Man Trapped in a Nursing Home, was released September 2018. Listen, his memoir, With Worn Out Tools, Navigating the Rituals of Midlife, was released in the fall of 2021. Darren is a certified John Maxwell trainer, coach, and speaker with an executive coaching clientele of 15 executives in 4 countries. He is licensed color code personality assessment facilitator, training over 500 leaders in 4 countries. He is a 2019 consumer reviewer for the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program. Darren lost over 270 pounds on a vegetarian diet. Never underestimate the power of your story. This young man that I'm about to bring on after our intro, Mr. DC Lyons, we're going to have a conversation with him about With Worn Out Tools, Navigating the Rituals of Midlife, and just a few other questions that I have for him, man, concerning how do you make it? How do you make it when adversity is against you, situations are upon you? What do we do? How do we handle ourselves? Listen, it's happening here today on the couch, K's Couch, and we'll be right back.
Throughout life, one may feel he or she hasn't been heard, seen, or no one is listening. However, look up. Don't fret. There is a place for you.
Processing.
Greetings.
Access granted.
Welcome to the couch. K's Couch.
It does not say whether you're bad or good, but it is a measurement.
Every single time you go to that bathroom and you got a stream of urine flowing out, you need to be saying, praise God.
Wow.
Because that's a sign that your kidney is getting better.
Like during that time when it was a fraction of a penny, and then you held it until today, you're a multi-millionaire.
Great. And as a result of this next conference, I am going to have a number of events following the conference.
Okay, I got you.
Nobody else, but willing to open the book.
To get this knowledge that you have, you gave up a lot of personal time with family.
It's less than $40 for both.
Wow.
And I have it in a variety of colors.
I take every moment as is. I've learned to be where my feet are.
Darren, DC, how you doing, man?
Excellent, K-Rev. How you doing, sir?
Hey, man, listen, I'm doing great, man. I am so excited to have you. We've been going back and forth a little bit, like LinkedIn tag, probably about a year. Right. And got a chance to finally to connect and have a conversation and to just see where we both were. And I'm excited to have you on the couch today, man, to have a conversation with you, man. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited as well. I feel a little underdressed. I knew I should have worn my hat. I was like, I think you're gonna be wearing a nice hat. And I said, I'm gonna wear my hat. And I was like, oh, maybe not. I'm trying too hard. But anyway.
You're doing great. Hey, man, listen, thank you so much for being here. Listen, DC, your story is amazing. Like, amazing. I just, I really, really am touched by the things that you had to endure. First of all, I want everybody to see the book. This is the book here, With Worn Out Tools. This is, navigating through the rituals of midlife. And this is a great read. It's not a long read, but it is a great read. And like I said, it doesn't take a long time to really emphasize the importance of how to handle life. And so I kind of know the inspirations behind this, DC, And like I said, I'm not the one to tell the story. I like people to read and indulge. But how did you know? What made you put your story, man, into this book or into this situation?
Thanks for the question. Okay, I was going through. I'd had my first amputation, and I and I'm from Virginia, but I live in Oklahoma City. I'm here in the middle of the country, and I
Gotcha.
was writing these little Facebook blogs to let people know what was going on with me. And in my because I had more time in rehabilitation, I was able to write them with a little bit of flair. People started to say, "Why you should write a book?" So it really inspired me. I was newly disabled. I needed to find something to do with my time, find some way to make some money, find some way
Hmm.
also to really get that purpose in life. So I started writing my book. I always like to say that I was writing the book when I was in dialysis. I had a dialysis needle in one arm and typing with the other one. But
Wow.
when I was doing that every day, I started writing a story, growing it. And I wrote my first book as short stories, but then I worked on with worn out tools more to share the broader story.
Wow, that is awesome. I mean, to just kind of imagine you got the dialysis needle here and then you got the type in here, man. That's definitely an amazing thing. Now, with worn out tools, you really exemplified here a lot. And before I go in there, tell us a little bit about DC. I know there's a part in the book that said, "Who am I?" or it tells about you, but
Yeah,
tell us in the audience a little about you. I know I read the bio, but just a little bit more about you and who is DC Lyons? Who are you?
absolutely. When you give your bio to people and you hear it, you're like, wow, is that me? But I grew up in a small town in Virginia, Petersburg, Virginia, about 25 miles south of Richmond. Virginia is a predominantly black city, about 65, 75% black, but the school system maybe over 90%. Had the opportunity to have some wonderful educators, grew up in a small family, people who love God, and able to go to George Mason University, which is in Northern Virginia, went from that predominantly black environment to a more mixed environment in Northern Virginia. I would say probably predominantly white environment. So really had a chance to structure my writing, structure my education as
Mhm.
well. Um, and went through, this whole book really started to crystallize when I thought about the process of midlife, right? You grow up, you have this kind of bag of tools that you use, you depend on to do things, your charm, your personality. But as you get older, those things start to fade, those things become a little duller. But it's when you need them most, you need those worn out tools, right? When you need those things most, that's when you have to sharpen those tools up. So the whole
Wow.
concept around worn out tools is about those skills being brought back to you, being brought back to life.
Wow. I can definitely can relate to a lot of what you're saying in the book. And now there was a poem in this book. I know you received this when, in your early years. It was called
Uh-huh.
the poem If. Tell us a little bit about that poem.
Yeah, the poem "If" I learned that when I was pledging my fraternity, and the poem "If" starts out, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, you have to make allowances for the doubting too. But the fourth stanza of the poem really is where the title for the book comes from. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools.
Mm,
I
mm,
really like the concept that, you know, there are a lot of things about being a man or being a woman, being an adult, that it's not about being boisterous. It's about losing, coming back. It's about taking an L, coming back, about always showing up, even with those worn out tools. And that was the really the center of the book was about moving through life using those worn out tools. Tools are worn out, but they can be sharpened again, right? Tools can be sharpened again, can be used, and they're dependable because you know what they do. You know how to use them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely love that. Now, as a question I have, I actually created a question that I wanted to ask, but when I was sharing it with a really good friend, she decided to send me a question that's
Okay.
kind of paralleled and kind of added on to what I was saying. And so I want to be able to read that from here. It says, does the breaking or the death of a thing recreate new birth inwardly or outwardly? You know,
Wow.
when you now listen, everybody, I want you guys to really read this book. With Worn Out Tools, you really get a chance to see DC. He really opens himself up in conversation about the situations at hand that got him from where he was to where he is now, you know, and really blossomed into a whole new man. And so, you know, I like how you utilize in the book, you know, how you recreated yourself. You know, Core Your Ink is a portion of, am I right, one of your superhero type deals. You know what I'm saying? So I like, from what I read in the book, I'm not trying to tell everybody about it, but listen, you
Right.
need to read this. But so would the death or the recreation of a thing, man, does that recreate you inwardly, or does it do it outwardly only?
That's a great question. That's a very laid question. I think it does both. I know for me, I had to give up some of the things I did before. One of the things I was told when I first from my surgeon that
Hmm.
amputated my left leg, my first
Mhm.
leg, was that an amputee can do anything they could do before they were amputated, but they have to learn how to do it differently.
Hmm.
The amputee can do anything they could do before they were amputated, but they have to learn how to do it differently. And that's what I've had to learn how to do after my first amputation, learn how to walk again with one prosthetic leg, but then learning how to walk again with two prosthetic legs after my second
Mhm.
amputation. And then, Corey, after my stroke, I had to learn how to walk all over again, right? So there was definitely some physical manifestation of those changes. But also, because of that, you had to learn how to do things differently internally.
Hmm.
And my resilience was challenged. My resolve was challenged. And what I didn't know, because this happened in 2017, that in 2020 we be in a pandemic, and I have to challenge my resolve and resilience all over again. I
Wow,
think
man.
that God prepares you for things that are coming, right? And
Right.
I mean, there's a popular song, "He's Preparing Me," and I feel like in a lot of ways, my that death of that thing that your friend said really prepared me for the changes that were coming later on, the changes that I would
Wow.
have to make to be my best later on.
Right. I love that. So, do you think that, and just kind of add on to the question, because it's quite a few things that's here, and add on to the question, do you think it actually helped regenerated the or renewing of your mindset? You know, in those situations, how did it help your mindset in those resolves, man?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to pretend carry that I'm happy that I lost my legs. Right?
I
Believe me,
understand. Yeah.
I miss I miss dancing with my wife. I wasn't a very good dancer, but I like to do
Right.
it. Right?
I understand. I get it. I
I
understand.
I miss the feeling of sand on my toes because I don't have any toes now. So I miss the feeling of
Gotcha.
sand on my toes. But the things I've learned in the last 5 years, I wish I could have learned those without losing my legs. But I
Wow.
thank God I have learned them since then. Uh, the way I've learned to slow down my thinking because I had a stroke and things get a little confusing. So I need to slow down my thinking. The fact I've learned to appreciate people, right? To be more thankful. The things I've learned, I would never give up. I would never give up. I remember one time early on in my recovery, and I was really had some anxiety. And my wife has been my greatest support, my greatest proponent. But I was because of my own stress and anxiety, I was kind of popping off a little bit to her. Like I would respond to her harshly and everything. And it was hurting her feelings. And I had to really slow down and realize, hey, Darren, you need to handle the stress a little bit better. What's going on? I had to make assessments of myself and of my mood to get to the next thing, right? So that
Mhm.
resilience I've learned, I would never I would never give that up. I just wish I could have learned it without losing my legs.
I definitely understand. And I hate that that happens. And a lot of times in life with some of us, man, we sometimes things have to happen in order for us to learn. And but I'm glad that you're here, man. In spite of, because
Yeah.
it could have been much worse. You could not have been here at
Right.
all, and not being
Absolutely.
able to give us any type of cloud of understanding on what we should do right now. So the thing is, what I'm learning right now with you, just make sure that you don't take advantage of the moment. You take advantage, but don't. You take advantage of the time you have and be positive with it, but don't take it for
Right.
granted. Don't take
That's
it for
right.
granted. And then, don't mishandle those who've been there for you in support. And think things through. Listen, man, just really reading this book, it really, really has just in the short period of time, really has really allowed me to be a part of even more thought leadership about my life and other people's life that I may have in my hand, having this platform. Because your voice, Darren, your voice, DC, is very important to the masses. There are many people out here that will not be doing the most positive things that they're doing if you did not choose to utilize what you're doing as a testament, to yourself and to others out here in this world. It's almost as important. Your book and your story is just as important as scripture that we read on a day-to-day basis.
Oh,
Sometimes
thank
people, my dad taught me that sometimes you won't read the Bible, but somebody will read you. They will read you. They will
you.
follow you. They know
Right.
you. And so your life becomes a testament to that I can make it. Now, you've shared with us that you had a double amputee, but many other they don't know until they start reading that you had an enlarged heart, you had kidney failure. I mean, tell us a
Right.
little bit about that. Like, my question is, when you're going through circumstances like this, it's like when the walls are closing in. I know it wasn't easy. Things wasn't easy. How did you keep the faith, man? Like, what was it what was your why and what was your reason? What kept you pushing to saying, I gotta stay alive? What was it, man?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kerry. You know, I got to tell you that I brought a lot of this on myself. I always like to say that uh, growing up, I had a weight problem. I
Okay.
couldn't wait to eat, right?
I understand.
and and I ate. I was the person who discovered whole foods, whole turkeys,
Wow.
whole hams, whole chickens. So I grew up,
Wow.
Kerry, with this weight problem, and I had diabetes early on. And I'm very fortunate that it took 50 years for me to have some major health issues, right? And
Wow.
I started on a vegetarian diet. I dieted my whole life, and I started losing weight, and I lost a couple 100 pounds, but not enough time to save my legs, right? But
Hmm.
so those things, when I lost my first leg, those things really started piling on me. In 2017, I limped my way into a emergency room, and they amputated my leg to save my life. And then that was in February 2017. And then in November of 2017, I started dialysis. And then what happens to a lot of people that then lose one limb, a year later I lost another. So all those things piling up, and then getting a diagnosis of having uh, an enlarged heart, right? And I got to tell you, there was some times during that I was brought down to my lowest. I was brought down to my lowest. And what I try to do, and with one of our tools, is take people on that journey of giving them, really going there and letting people know what I felt, right? Going into the healthcare system, what I felt in being handled in nursing homes a couple times, right? Um, I really try to break that down, but also add in some humor as well. But to,
Hmm.
to directly answer your question, Carrie, what I really depended on was my faith, right? I spent
Hmm.
all this time in church, all reading all these things that the Bible said about me, that I was more than a conqueror. I could do all things through Christ. That through Christ, uh, the God would do anything, right? You can do
Hmm.
more than I can think or imagine. I
Hmm.
had to ask myself, do you really believe that? I mean,
Hmm.
you've been singing those songs, you've been praying those prayers. Do you really believe that? Now, I don't know what the faith is of your listeners, but there comes a time when you ask yourself, what do you believe? And then you really lean and depend on what you believe. And that's what I did. I did that, and I started to, you have a good day, you have a bad day, but then you hold on through the bad days and wait for the better days.
Wow, man. And then in the book, I do see, and I'm going to adopt some of these positive self affirmations that you got in the beginning of the book, man, that are very powerful. Just name one. I want to say, I am excited by what this day will bring. That's number one. A lot of times, you have to really speak those things that be not. You don't know what's going to happen throughout the day, but you have to be excited about what the day is going to bring. And when you start with that thankfulness and understand what things is going on and who you are and the power, there's nothing should be able to shake you. And again, man, I can go on and on. I know I have but a few more minutes, but I can go on and on and on talking to you about your book and about what's going on. I got a couple of more questions, but what I want to do is take a quick break, and then we'll come back. And I want to know, there's in the book, you discuss the rite of passage. I like that. I like the fact that there were certain things that you talked about on the rite of passage that would get us to adulthood, like from high school to college and leaving home. And then I got a couple questions around that. And then I want to talk about the 8 worn out tools, in the back of the book, man. And then we'll be wrapping up. But listen, everybody, listen, on K's Couch today, we got Mr. DC Lyons, and I am so excited to have him here. He and I have been kind of touching bases here and there on LinkedIn for about a year and got a chance to finally to connect. And I'm glad to have him here today. So we're going to take a brief break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to wrap up with Mr. DC Lyons talking about worn out tools and his conquering opportunity he's done in his life. So I'm excited. So we'll be right back.
Life is filled with many unexpectancies. If something happened to you today, heart attack, cancer, stroke, or diagnosed with anything terminal, are you prepared for what's next? Only 1 out of 4 to 5 Americans have considered that life is unexpected, uncertain, and has some uncontrollable risk. Are you that 4 to 5 that hasn't taken action yet? Call right now for your free quote. Tomorrow's not promised. The protection of your legacy depends on what choice you make in this moment. Call right now.
Dublin, Georgia. Let's get ready for a night of elegance.
You have a way with me like no one else. Yeah, you almost make me fall in love. If you keep this up, then I'll let you in. Oh, wanna get you closer to my body. Wanna feel your hands all over me. Gotta make them jealous, everybody. 'Cause you know we got it, chemistry. Oh yeah, all around me. Oh yeah, chemistry. Oh yeah, you and me. Yeah, you know we got it, chemistry. You make all my problems feel miles away. Nothing in this world made sense up till today. I can see the colors now, no black and white. If you keep this up, then I'll stay the night. 'Cause you have a way with me like no one else. Yeah, you.
The word lit has taken on a whole new meaning.
Warning.
This is not a drill.
Feel the energy at Lit Chat. We don't just like your post, we ignite your post. From the serious businessman, merchant, seller, socialite to the prolific entertainer, it's time now to show the world just how lit you are. www.litchat.com, your source for lit status, lit content, and conversation. Lit Chat, now your words have fire. Now on Droid and Apple.
Are we back? We're back. We are back. We are back on the couch with Mr. DC Lyons, and I am so excited again. And we're talking about the book itself. Worn Out Tools. With Worn Out Tools, we're looking at navigating the rituals of midlife. And this is an amazing read. It is an amazing book. I really behoove you guys or everyone to purchase this. The testimony of this great man is amazing. And it is not a long read, but it doesn't take you all day to really get the point across. And I really love the read. And Darren, again, thank you so much for being here and being available today, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I did have a few more questions, a couple more questions, and then we'll be wrapping up. Well, first of all, tell us where we can buy the book at. Where can we get it from?
The book is available at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. If someone wants an autographed copy, they can go to my website at www.korrior.com, courier.com, and I'll make sure you get an autographed copy as well if you're interested in that.
And that's KORRIER?
KORRIOR.com.
Yeah,
Yep.
.com. I want to make sure we get that up there available
Absolutely.
for everybody. And so we can actually take a look at that. And that's www. Yep. I want to make sure we had that available.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Want to make sure that we get that available. And we promote this, and we promote for the people to be able to purchase the book, because it is a great read, and I have enjoyed my reading of this book. I love it. I definitely love it. Listen, I wanted to know, okay, so in the book you talk, it's a little snippet of a line, but talk about the rite of passage, and that caught my eye. And see, I'm a person that catches the small details of stuff, and I really in certain lines gravitate towards me, certain things that grab my attention. So it said the rite of passage, you were speaking of that, and it was talking about how this rite of passage of leaving home from becoming a child to adulthood, you would leave home, you get married, go to college. So I wanted to ask, how does midlife gives one a similar rite of passage? I know, and you know, I want to know, how can midlife or the things that we did in midlife give us a rite of passage, maybe to a new person?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Hollywood, Kay, is filled with stories about coming of age, right? And like the rituals of coming of age, like new car, prom, first kiss, first love. They're all celebrated, right?
Right.
But midlife has its rituals as well. Not quite as celebrated. You think about it. There's divorce.
Right.
There's job downsizing, career changes, and then, like mine, sickness. Illness. The thing about it is that it happens to everyone. And you're a little, I think you're a little younger than I am, but so maybe what I've learned is that people who who've read the book who are younger are interested in what's going to happen to them going forward, and it is really your ability to transition through those passages, those rituals that get you from midlife to the golden years, right? It's going to happen, whether it's some type of. I've noticed since I've had my health illnesses, everybody has a little bit of a limp. Everybody has a little something going on with them, but it's how you deal with it mentally, how you deal with it physically. Those things determine how successful your second act will be. I know that I am trying, Carrie. My grandfather lived to be 93.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I might be here for a while. I'm trying to get the most out of that I possibly can.
Absolutely.
And I have 5 grandkids. 2 of them have been born since my second amputation.
Wow.
I would have missed out on them. Had I not stayed alive during all this, right? So I don't want to miss what life has for me, even if it's with some worn-out tools. I don't want to miss what life has for me.
I love that. I'm just stuck on the meaning and the innuendo of with worn out tools. Like that really, I love that. I really love the title, that things do get worn out, and we have to. You had in the book, you mentioned that sometimes you have to finish the job with the tools you have. And I think that is really, really relevant to life. Sometimes you only handed in life a certain type of hand, that you have to really work with. And you determine, or the person within, the spirit within that you allow to come out, you determine how far you go. You determine the measures of life that you're going to take. If Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles really subdued to their blindness, they wouldn't be the superstars they are right now. And what is Helen Keller, Anne Frank, these people who had crazy situations, which had almost, in man's eye, the reason, or they had the reason to complain, but never did, but they never did. They pressed on. Not to say it wasn't easy, but the thing is, they did it with stride. They did it with as much as they could, and did it the best that they know how, and to where it's so much so that they became infamous for who they were. And so, DC, I think, me personally, you get enough people reading this book and understanding your story, that you fall in the same category, man. Like, in spite of, what you dealt with, you had the legitimacy to give up, like many people probably would have, but you didn't, man. And this book and your conversation is a testament to those to know what to do, what they should do, and in the in any type of adverse situation, this is how he did it. It could possibly work for me. So I really appreciate this, and I want to say this too, and then we'll touch on, before we wrap up, we'll touch on the 8 worn out tools that are in the book, man. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for, choosing life. Many people, man, you have to go through sacrifices to get a message, and you went through a lot, and you could have easily given up. You could have easily threw in the towel. You could have easily say, well, I'm not going to do this. It's not even worth it. Nobody's not going to listen. But I want to personally thank you for making that choice. I want to personally thank you for fighting to stay alive. I want to personally thank you for going through, the home health cares and nursing homes, the things that you had to deal with, the diagnosis, the falls. I want to thank you, even though it wasn't good. It didn't feel good at the moment, but because you decided to go through the process, it helps me. It helped me to see some things. It helped people listening to your story to see, man. So your life, man, is a huge testament of faith, and that we can do it. So I want to thank you personally, man, for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So I want to do this before we wrap up, Darren. Now, in the book, like I said, I'm not telling the story, people. I want everybody, please purchase the book. It is an awesome, awesome, awesome read. And if you allow yourself to be open to the story, it can really pull on some emotion. It can really pull on your heart, man. And so Darren, towards the end of the book, you got 8 worn out tools, man, that if you don't mind, just kind of touching a little bit on those for and what they are, and just a little synopsis on how you see those.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I woke up from my first amputation, and I refer to the first one quite a bit because the book is primarily about the first amputation.
Right.
And you look at the foot of your bed, and you only see 1 foot, 1 TP, where there used to be 2. You're like, wow, this is for real. Like, you wake up in the haze. The first thing I thought about was be more thankful, right? Be thankful about being alive. I could even replace that with being grateful. But every day, showing thanks for being alive, being still in the game, is what's important, right? Because you got to be in the game to play.
Got to be in it, man.
And every day I woke up saying, okay, I'm alive again. God must still have a purpose for me, must still have a plan for me. Be more inquisitive. If you think about the skills of those folks that are really considered brilliant, it's because they're curious. They never stop wondering. So one of the goals I have is to be more curious, to be more prepared, right? To be more in the moment. To appreciate the moment we have right now is something that I focus a lot on as well. Be intentional about what I'm doing. I talk about in with one or two is the importance of friends, right? You mentioned that you have to sometimes do the job with the tools you have left. Sometimes you have to do the job with the friends you have left. You have to survive with the friends you have left. You know, God asked Moses, "What's in your hand?" He had a staff in his hand. And God gave him power in the staff. Sometimes it's just the power that you have, right? And I talk about faith and love in the book because my wonderful wife has been my great supporter of me. She has been someone that's been my backbone. My wife is from Liberty City, Miami, right? So she's no punk.
I got
so
you.
she won't let me punk out, Corey. And she's been a big a pusher of me. You know, and I might have skipped some of the things I learned.
It's okay.
But the last one I want to talk about is the double amputee rule number one. Amputee rule number one, which I call the mother of all amputee rules. And it's based on the fact that when you are an amputee of a lower extremity, it takes you twice the energy, twice the effort to accomplish things you used to do easily. So to walk across the room, it takes twice the effort, right? On that prosthetic leg. It takes twice the effort per missing joint, per missing ligament to walk across the room. What it reminds me of, Corey, is the fact that in life, whether you are an amputee, whether you have cancer, whether you have gone through a divorce, whether you're going through a job change, it might take your best effort, right? Well, all that's required is your best effort. If you give your best effort, that is enough. That's all that's required. And if you face everything with your best effort, even though it doesn't seem like it might not take that. If you face the task with your best effort, the world's not ready for that type of focus. The world's not ready for it. So rule number one is, from this point on, nothing is easy. Everything requires your best effort.
Wow, that is wow. I like that. And I mean, it might not be easy, but just make sure you're doing your best, you know, and it'll be taken care of, the rest by God and your efforts. DC, number one, I thank you, man, for your time, and I thank you for just being available. I thank you for this book. Listen, my couchineers, y'all, listen, I need y'all to get this book. I need y'all to get this book, With Worn Out Tools, Navigating the Rituals of Midlife. Listen, you can get it from an autographed copy from www.courier.com. Make sure you do that and support DC, man. Like, listen, this man, his time is sacred, and he got, he's a John Maxwell speaker. He's an executive coach. I mean, like, and I'm privileged to have the opportunity to know him and to have conversation and building a relationship with him, man. And I'm happy to know you and to have met you, and I am thankful for you, and I'm thankful that you are still pushing for us, and you're still pushing this grind, man. And before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with us, man?
Hey, just thank you for being such a gracious host. I appreciate your invitation. I'm glad we stayed in contact over this time.
Yep.
And I'm available for virtual speaking engagements. Love to meet with I just did a wonderful book club for an organization out of Orlando where some of the folks had read the book, and we had some discussions about resiliency, about humor, about faith. And as I said, the book is a journey through my experience, but it's also not just inspirational, motivational, but funny as well.
Thank you, man. I'm honored. Thank you so much, DC, for just being here, being available with us, and really hanging out with us today. Now, to my people, listen, we got a new show coming up on the couch next week, starting the first Tuesday of every month. We're going to have what you call Tune Tuesday. So we will be introducing new artists, and we want to give a little snippet of what's coming next week. And if you can hang out with me just a little while, but 2 more minutes with me, Darren, that'll be great. And so everyone just kind of take a snippet of what's coming up next week, Tune Tuesdays. We'll be right back.
Welcome. Authorizing.
Until I saw you today, and I'm still addicted. And so I see nothing's changed, even your smile. It still gives it away. We're feeling the tension. 10 years and we're still the same. You want to be closer, but it's mixed with.
What is heaven like? I can't wait to get there. How do you get there?
Heaven, 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 heaven.
I have to stay obedient. I have to stay faithful. Must turn away from wrongdoing and continue the path of being right. What is heaven like?
In the Bible, the book of Psalms of 139, you watched me as I was formed, saw me before I was born, recorded in the book of life. Every day and every moment when I wake up, I know that you are with me.
Absolutely. That's our Tune Tuesday coming up starting next week. The first Tuesday of every month, you will see new artist showcase here on the couch with interviews, in-depth interviews, and introducing their new music and songs. So we're excited about the new show coming up. And again, DC, thank you so much for hanging out with me, man. So we're getting ready to close off today. Everyone, love life, live love, because you only have one. And so y'all be cool and be blessed. Give me 1 second, DC. Darren, once we get done with the outro, then I'll connect with you just a second in the green room.
Okay.
All right, man. So thank y'all so much. Y'all be cool, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Be blessed.